Researchers use census data from the past 100 years to figure out whether or not religion is still thriving in every country. And what they found is that there are at least 9 countries in the world where religion may become extinct. Okay, and this is a theory that you had a while ago. So it's interesting to now see scientific research that backs up your claims that religion will at some point become extinct. So what they did, as I mentioned, is they looked at census data and they looked at the nonlinear dynamics of religion, okay? And what they found was that in Australia, Austria, Canada, the Czech Republic, Finland, Ireland, the Netherlands, New Zealand, and Switzerland, those 9 places in the world are probably going to see not only a rapid decline in religion, but religion may become extinct in those parts of the world. Okay, it's pretty incredible.
Now, here's the thing, right? Now, I always love science backing up my theories, and I appreciate it. But of course, when you dive into these details, it's a little more complicated than that. One of the things that they studied was the decline of languages, and they saw certain phenomenon regarding those. One of which is that after you reach a certain tipping point, it doesn't make sense anymore to use that language because it has too much cost associated with learning the language, keeping the language going, etc., when there is another dominant language. For example, Spanish in Peru as opposed to a local language in Peru that was eventually dying off. And what that leads to is the eventual absolute extinction of that language, okay? Now, a lot of people will rightfully say language and religion are not completely related, that they are different phenomenon, and that there might be a need for religion within the human instinct, that is different from the need for a specific local language as opposed to language overall. Those are all good and fair points. Now, what the scientists here are saying is you can see similar phenomenon in terms of how things are slowing down in religion, and when a larger community is no longer attached to it, it also has a deteriorating effect on the remaining people who continue to be religious, and hence leads towards extinction. There's good arguments on both sides, and I've said all along, there's many religions that have gone extinct throughout our history. We just, don't focus on those, but there's been, a tremendous amount of those religions that went away. So does that mean that our current religions can go away in some places? Absolutely it does. It might mean that another religion at some point comes up.
Right.
But those things can coexist.
Right, that's what I was going to mention. Certain religions that exist today could basically decline and become extinct. However, it's very possible that there will be an emergence of new religions. And, there have been other theories behind that we've talked about on the show, where, the whole appeal of religion is the social aspect of it. The fact that it allows people to come together, and just that social aspect alone gives religion a certain kind of utility, right? So people will always, find religion appealing if there is that aspect of it, where they can get together, socialize, and be part of a group. Every human wants to be part of a group. So that's the whole argument of why religion will always continue to exist, even if these certain types of religions go extinct.
Let me add a new theory, which I just came up with on the spot. I think that a new religion will rise, because the old religions have significant problems. As we've talked about before, they don't make any sense in the modern world because they were written 2,000 years ago or 1,400 years ago, and they've got the sprinkling of the goat's blood, and they've got don't mix the 2 different cloths, hate the gay people, don't eat shrimp, all this nonsense, right? These rules that don't make any sense. And at some point, people are actually going to read those texts. It takes a long time, and people every once in a while somebody pick up the Bible and go, "Really? That's what's in it?" I know I did that with the Quran and the Bible. But people need religion. I mean, they might, that might change over time too, but certainly there's a certain percentage of people that need religion. And so I think that a new religion will be much vaguer. It won't have all those rules you can disprove. It'll be more personal, like everybody will get to have a God that they excuse me, that they can craft in, honestly, in their own image. Okay, I know it's goofy, but that's the reality of it. So they can feel comfortable with that God, and then it'll be a religion that unifies everybody and says everybody's equal. That was one of the great appeals originally of Christianity and certainly of Islam. But I think it'll have those three elements, and then it will spread like wildfire.
All right.
Boom! I just called the rise of a whole new religion on the Young Turks. Go.
Congratulations, Cenk.